72, Lynette Jumba, a retired public servant, will be looking forward to her pension checks and visits from her grandchildren. Instead, for nearly a decade, she has spent her time and resources taking care of her mentally ill child who's 38 years old. Lynette is not alone. And on this episode of 12 Minutes, we bring you the stories of caregivers and the mental struggles they go through, May being the globally recognized Mental Health Awareness Month.
My name's Lynette Jumba. I come from Vihiga. I have a daughter, my last born, called Sonia Ondisa Jumba. Sonia, after university, she fell sick. When she was about to be employed, she met a man who loved her, and they decided to get married. The parents of the man came, we ate, we talked, we celebrated, and they liked Sonia, they liked my family, so it was to be a wedding. Now with that wedding, the mother just became rough and said, no more wedding now. Ataki, yani wasimamizi watoke pande ya kijana, ya msichana. Traditionally ni vibaya. Mama akakataa kabisa. Sonia got into depression. Sonia is still sick. 9 years now down the line. Daktari sasa anasema ako na bipolar 1. It is hard to handle her. Tuko na wakati hata ndio dawa tukinunua na kataa kunywa. Nasema I'm not sick and I'm tired of taking medications. So na hiyo ndio wakati atakuwa worse. Hata ukimnunulia unga utakuta amepayana kwa neighbors. Viti za nyumba nimerudishianga through police. Kwa wingi Sonia aendangi kazi. Analala 24 hours. Akikunywa hizo madawa zinamaliza kabisa. Unajua naendanga na moods. Alinipiga kwa sababu nimemuuliza Sonia, hii mattress ilikuwa hapa najalianga. Umepatia nani sasa?
It's the unpredictable nature of taking care of a mentally ill patient that has Lynette on the edge. In fact, she says there are instances where she has had physical altercations with her child, apart from the debilitating stigma and discrimination she goes through in her advanced age.
It affects me, even friends, especially when I was trying to get money for the advocate. Please help me. Hata wale unajua. Even your own people. They're just there. Yes. Unajua sisi tunakulanga mrenda, mkunde nini. Hizo vitu akiona mbele yake ni kama anasikia kutabika. Sasa niliuliza daktari, why is it like this? Akaniambia, mom, give her what she wants. Because you cannot force her to eat what she doesn't want. Saa 8 ya usiku utampata kwa nje kwa gate. Ameulizia chakula ya hotel. Anachukua loan from all banks in Kenya and apps. Mimi nimeuza hata plots zangu zile nilikuwa nanunua when I was working. Nimeuza because I had loved Sonia, nampenda. Tena ni msichana mzuri, ananga shida. Nimeuza, nimemlipa nyumba na mtoto akunywa maziwa. Mtu akiwa na shida kama hiyo ya bipolar si kitu rahisi. Na hata kama unalala na hata wewe ni kama wewe ni caregiver, you don't sleep. Kwa maana ujue atakufanya nini. Nakwambia siku ingine nilichapwa. Ujue atakuchapa au ujue atakufanya nini. Na hata kama kuna mtoto mdogo, you don't know mtoto what the child is undergoing.
Apart from depression, bipolar is now becoming another commonly diagnosed mental illness. And this is according to consultant psychiatrist Dr. Erica Dagala, who explains what bipolar entails.
For someone to be diagnosed with bipolar, they must have mania and or depression. So bipolar is actually divided into two. There is bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 disorder. And in bipolar 1, a patient must present with mania, a manic episode, with or without depression. So, and in bipolar 2, a patient should present with hypomanic episode with depressive episodes. The two main cause symptoms include an elevated mood that must be present. A patient presents with a very infectious, sort of euphoric mood, very happy, extremely happy, that is not their normal self. Yeah, they almost, that happiness is almost even sort of infectious. Everyone around them can even become happy. When they are irritable, they can even, in their speech, it comes out as them being very hostile, abusive, angry, and their energy levels actually are very high, such that they might even wake up at odd hours in the night, having that excess energy to do whatever project they might be sort of wanting to do. So someone can feel that they have superpowers, or they have an influence over others, or they have special relations with God, or even highly influential people in our society. On average, from the outside world to the clinical setting, it can take even up to 6 years for a proper diagnosis to be made. Hallmark of management is psychotherapy and pharmacotherapy. Pharmacotherapy means treatment by medication, and psychotherapy means treatment by talk therapy. The mainstay are usually what we call mood stabilizers, antipsychotics, and antidepressants. So for bipolar, majority of these patients will require a mood stabilizer. There are different types of mood stabilizers, so many different types, and how the patient presents will determine what mood stabilizer we will prescribe for them. Adherence to treatment in bipolar can be challenging. The patients usually have what we call poor insight, especially patients with bipolar 1.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, this is how Perry Swangare channeled the loss of her only son, Arthur, into a mission to reach out to the often invisible and worn-out caregivers to mentally and physically disabled children.
I founded Arthur for Others organization due to my personal experience of raising a son who had cerebral palsy. And through that experience, I got to know the challenges that caregivers face. So to take you back, in 2021, this is how I found myself in the journey of motherhood. And after giving birth to Arthur, he was admitted to the neonatal intensive care unit for about 2 weeks. At this time, I was told he suffered severe birth asphyxia. This is a condition whereby a child does not get enough oxygen to the brain, and the common thing that you notice is that the child does not cry when they are born. The experience was difficult, so to say, because I thought motherhood will be easy. I would enjoy even the happiness of breastfeeding, as simple as that. But I was expressing milk and feeding him with a tube. So fast forward, we were discharged after 2 weeks, and during our stay at home, things got even worse because the baby didn't breastfeed at all. I was just also expressing milk and feeding him with a spoon. So again, he will get very sick oftenly, and at around 4 months, we got admitted at PGH for our first time, and this is where the news was broken to me that your child has cerebral palsy. I did not know what that was, and the doctors didn't even explain. They just said that and recommended that I start therapy immediately and walked away. So what I did is I Googled, what is this cerebral palsy? And of course, I was in denial. I was very isolated. I did not want even to see people. As simple as taking my child out to bask in the sun, I could not do that because I feared even my neighbors, they will see him and start talking. This is because of the societal perception of disability. I found myself getting into depression, even without knowing. By that time, I didn't have a lot of information about mental health. So the symptoms that I remember now looking back, I wouldn't shower for days. I wouldn't even make my hair. I was very, very shaggy. I was unclean. I will not do anything except sit down and just feed the child. I will make sure he's well fed, he's clean, but I neglected myself. I wouldn't even clean the house. Again, the struggles that I went through and most caregivers go through is the financial constraints, because taking care of a child with this condition, it's not a disease. You do not expect that he will get better tomorrow or next week or next month. There are medications that he is supposed to take, and these anticonvulsants are very, very expensive. On a monthly basis, we will spend about 5,000 for medication only. In 2023, on March 18th, I remember very well, Ada's birthday is on 9th February. I wanted to do a birthday for him. And then I was like, why should I do a birthday to just celebrate him? And then there are so many children out there like him. So I extended his birthday to March 18th. And I gathered resources. We gathered diapers, wipes, and a few items to just celebrate. And this is how we did the event. Little did we know this will be the last activity we did with Ada, because unfortunately he passed on that following month on April 27th. I just reflected and thought, yes, he has gone. He has lived here for that short period that God allowed him to live, but he has clearly left a mark, a footprint in this world. People have known about cerebral palsy because of him. People actually came out to support our little activities. What more could I do? So that gave me hope, and it actually gave me strength and a purpose. And now I could accept that he didn't just pass on like that. It's for a purpose. I went through all this struggle and through all this pain to eventually birth something beautiful and something that will come to help a lot of people. And so that is when we changed the name and called it Other for Others organization. I thought to myself, what will change if parents like us come together? We don't know so much. We don't have resources, but just being together, people who understand each other and understand this journey. So that is how I started. So I gathered a few parents on WhatsApp, and we started communicating virtually and just sharing our experiences. Like 2 weeks ago, we held our first activity or program. It's called Shamiri Initiative. Shamiri Initiative basically empowers and trains caregivers on mental health literacy for them to acknowledge and actually know these mental health conditions, to know the signs, to know the symptoms, and to know when it's the right time to ask for help. And also self-care. They should not even forget themselves. As much as they are looking after these children, they also have themselves, because caregivers are basically the backbone of our health system. And if at all we do not take care of them, then those that they take care of, then their state will, of course, worsen. And what they have found with Shamiri is a community peer support network. They come together, talk about their challenges, and actually encourage one another. Being that most of them are single mothers, they might encourage someone who has just been left by their husband or their father, and tell them it's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. We encourage them so much on self-care. Yes, you are a full-time caregiver. When a child sleeps, what do? You can put on some music and just do dance therapy, as simple as that. You can just have a 10 minutes walk, 15 minutes walk. You can actually meet in that peer support group and do something that is fun and that is building you and that is rejuvenating you even emotionally.
What we are seeing in our clinical setups is that the women carry a lot of this burden, and maybe as we go on with the discussion, it will be something maybe the governments, the national governments and county governments need to take up and come up with plans of how to take care of the caregivers. It's understandable how caregivers have reached almost an end point of trying to help their patients. And it's called caregiver fatigue or burnout. And it's important for these caregivers to also take their time off to sort of take the time to do a bit of proper self-care for themselves in order to be able to replenish their energy stores mentally as well as physically, to continue empowering and educating these patients, because the mainstay of trying to help the patients adhere to their medication, follow the clinical reviews and appointments is just continuous psychoeducation, continuous enabling them to understand their condition better and better.